All right, let's talk about something a bit different today. Not just pretty plants, but plants that have this weird ability to make a garden feel expensive. And I don't mean you have to spend a fortune, that's the whole point. It's about choosing plants that have structure, texture, and a certain presence. You could have a garden full of cheap and cheerful annuals and it'll look lovely, but it won't have that feeling of permanence of design. It's the difference between fast fashion and a well-tailored coat. These are the plants that give your garden bones, the ones that look good even when they're not in flower. And honestly, once you start seeing your garden this way, you can't unsee it. It changes how you choose everything. So I'm going to actually talk you through the 13 plants that completely transformed my space from just a collection of flowers into something that feels intentional and expensive. Okay, first up is this stuff, Hakonchloa Japanese forest grass. Honestly, if a landscape architect had a favorite child, this would be it. You see it everywhere in high-end designs, and for good reason. It's not shouting plant, it's whispering plant. It forms these soft cascading mounds that just spill over edges of paths or walls. It's pure movement. The Aureola variety, the one with the yellow stripes, is particularly good at lighting up shady spots. Most people don't realize it's one of the few ornamental grasses genuinely thrives in shade. The one mistake people make is planting it in baking hot sun. It just scorches and looks miserable. Give it morning sun and afternoon shade, and it's happy. And the way it moves in the slightest breeze, it's like living waterfall. It gives garden that soft, layered, established feel that usually takes years to achieve. Its texture on a whole other level. Right? You knew this was coming. Boxwood, Buxus sempervirens. I know, some people think it's boring or old-fashioned, but they're missing the point entirely. Boxwood isn't the star of the show. It's the stage. It's the structure. It's the full stop at the end of a sentence. A few clipped boxwood balls or a low hedge can take a messy, chaotic border and instantly give it order and year-round definition. It's that dark, glossy green that makes all the other colors pop. The secret is that it provides a sense of control, permanence. Even in the dead of winter, when everything else has died back, the boxwood is there holding the shape of the garden. Most people don't realize the smell. On a hot, sunny day, it has this distinct, almost musky scent. It's the smell of old grand gardens. The failure note, box blight is a real thing, so ensure good air circulation and don't let them sit in wet soil. But get it right, and it's the single best investment for garden structure. This is where we get into architectural drama. Alliums, specifically the big ones like Globemaster or Ambassador. These are punctuation marks in the garden. They shoot up these tall, straight stems and then explode into these perfect purple spheres. They look like something from a Dr. Seuss book in the best possible way. The trick is to plant them weaving through other lower growing perennials. So as the allium foliage starts to look a bit sad and yellow, which it always does, the other plants are growing up to its messy base, and you're just left with these magical globes floating above everything else. Bees absolutely lose their minds over them. It's a constant buzz. And the best part, don't cut the seed heads down. Let them dry on the stalk. They look incredible like skeletal sculptures right through the winter. It's that four-season interest that streams expensive garden. They're not cheap as bulbs, but they make massive statement. The specimen plant is a big investment, but nothing says high-end garden like a beautifully chosen Japanese maple. Acer palmatum, especially the weeping dissected varieties like Crimson Queen or Virides, they're living sculptures. The delicate lace-like foliage is just incredible up close, and the seasonal change, that fresh spring growth, the deep summer color, and then the fiery autumn display, it's a focal point that demands attention. The one mistake people make is putting them in a windy spot or in scorching afternoon sun. They just can't handle it. They're done. Leaves get shredded or burnt too. A crisp, they need a sheltered location. Dappled light is perfect. Honestly, they're not as difficult as people think. You just have to respect their needs. Find the right spot, and you've got a piece of art that gets more valuable every year. It's the definition of long-term investment in your garden's beauty. Alpha, a plant that brings sophistication to the shade. Hellebores, or the Lenten rose. Hellebores orientalis. These are the antidote to the bleak late winter garden. They start blooming when there's still frost on the ground, sometimes even through the snow, and the flowers aren't loud. They're subtle, nodding, and come in these dusky, complex colors. Deep purples, dusty pinks, creamy whites, often with beautiful freckles inside. They look like watercolor paintings. See these in old, established gardens, colonizing under trees. That's the look you want. The foliage is evergreen and leathery, looking good all year round. Practical tip, trim off the old tatty leaves in late winter, just before the new flowers emerge. This really shows off the blooms and helps prevent disease. They just have an air of quiet confidence. They're not begging for attention, which is precisely why they feel so luxurious. For pure, unadulterated drama, you can't beat a cardoon, Cyanara cardunculus. This is the wild, thistly cousin of the artichoke, and it is a monster. We're talking huge, jagged, silvery blue leaves that form a massive architectural clump. It's prehistoric. It's bold. It takes up space and makes zero apologies for it. One cardoon can anchor an entire garden bed. It provides a texture and scale that's almost impossible to get from else. Then in summer, it sends up these giant stalks with electric purple thistle flowers on top. Pollinators go absolutely bananas for them. A little known fact is that the leaf stalks can be blanched and eaten just like celery, though it's a lot of work. The main thing is its presence. It stops you in your tracks. The failure note is that it needs space and full sun. Don't try to cram it into a small border. It will just swallow everything. Give it room to itself, and it will pay you back with a season of jaw-dropping structure. A lot of modern garden design is about repetition and rhythm, and nothing does that better than featherweed grass. Calamagrostes executiflora Carl Forster. This grass is famous for its incredibly upright, narrow habit. It doesn't flop. It creates these beautiful vertical lines like living exclamation points in the garden. Planting a row of them creates a semi-transparent screen that catches the light and moves beautifully in the wind without completely blocking the view. It's a designer's trick to add height and structure without adding bulk. The flower plumes emerge in early summer as a purplish pink and fade to a beautiful wheat color that lasts all winter. Honestly, the best view of this plant is in the low winter sun when the frost catches on the seed heads. It's magical. Don't cut it back in autumn. That's the biggest mistake. The winter structure is its main selling point. It's the definition of four-season plant, and that continuous performance is what gives garden that polished, well-cared-for look. This one might surprise you. Lady's Mantle Alchemilla mollis. It's a humble, old-fashioned cottage garden plant, but used correctly, it looks incredibly lush and expensive. The magic is in its foliage. The leaves are soft, scalloped, and pleated, and they have this incredible ability to catch water droplets, holding them like little diamonds after rain or in the morning dew. It's breathtaking. Then it produces these frothy sprays of chartreuse yellow flowers that's over everything. The trick is to use it as a generous flowing edger along a path or at the front of a border. A single lonely plant looks lost. A river of it looks opulent. It softens hard edges and makes the whole garden feel full and abundant. My favorite practical tip: if it starts looking messy midsummer, just shear the whole thing back to the base, foliage and all. It will quickly regrow, a fresh new clump of leaves that looks perfect right through to autumn. It's a cheap plant that punches way above its weight. Verticality is a key component of a high-end garden, and foxgloves, digitalis purpurea are the masters of it. They add that quintessential cottage garden elegance, but with a wild edge. These tall, dramatic spires covered in bell-shaped flowers just command attention. They draw the eye upwards, adding height and a sense of grandeur to the back of a border. What I love is that they are biennials, meaning they grow foliage one year and flower the next. They sell readily, so once you have them, you tend to have them forever. But they pop up in slightly different places each year. This creates a really natural, unplanned look that feels like the garden has designed itself. You'll often see this in very old established gardens where the foxgloves have been choosing their own spots for decades. A little known fact: all parts of the plant are poisonous, which is why deer and rabbits tend to leave them well alone. That alone is huge plus. They are the effortless spires that make a garden feel mature. There are hydrangeas, and then there is hydrangea limelight. This isn't your grandmother's blue moffed. This is a game changer. Hydrangea paniculata limelight is a beast. It's robust, reliable, and produces these enormous cone-shaped flower heads. They start a refreshing lime green color in midsummer, mature to a creamy white, and then fade to a dusky deep pink and burgundy in the autumn. The flowers are held up on strong, sturdy stems that don't flop after it rains. It has a real presence. You can prune it hard in late winter to keep it as a manageable shrub, or let it grow into a small tree. A pair of them flanking an entrance or a single one as a specimen in a lawn looks incredibly chic and intentional. Honestly, its reliability is its most expensive trait. It performs year after year without fuss, providing months of color and structure. It makes the garden look full and professionally managed, even if you're a complete beginner. For something completely different, let's talk texture. Sea Holly, Eryngium planum. This plant looks like it's from another planet. It has these intense metallic blue thistle-like flowers surrounded by spiky silver blue bracts. The whole thing has a kind of architectural, almost futuristic quality. It's not soft and pretty, it's sharp and structural, and that's its strength. It adds a texture that very few other plants can. It absolutely thrives on neglect. Give it poor, well-drained soil and bake it in the sun, and it will be happy. The one mistake people make is planting it in rich, fertile soil with lots of water. It just gets floppy and loses its intense color. Bees and other pollinators are obsessed with the flowers. It's a fantastic plant for a gravel garden or a modern, minimalist design. The flowers also last forever in a vase, fresh or dried. It's that unique sculptural quality that makes it look carefully chosen piece of art. Big leaves mean big impact, especially in the shade where you can't rely on flowers. Endorodrija. Rodrija podophylla is all about the foliage. The leaves are huge, palmate, and heavily textured, a bit like a horse chestnut leaf on steroids. They emerge in spring with a beautiful bronze tint before turning a deep, lush green. A mature clump of Rodrija is a statement piece for a damp, shady corner of the garden. It creates a bold, almost tropical feel. Most people don't realize that it needs consistently moist soil, not tolerate drying out. You'll often see it planted in your ponds or in boggy areas in botanical gardens. That's its happy place. In midsummer, it sends up these fluffy plumes of creamy white or pinkish flowers, which are lovely, but honestly, you grow it for the leaves. It fills a large space with such dramatic foliage that it instantly makes a shady area feel purposeful in design rather than just a forgotten corner. It's the solution to a problem. Solving problems with style is the ultimate luxury. Finally, let's talk about the ultimate symbol of a high-end aspirational garden, the Italian cypress. Copris sempervirens stricta. Nothing else provides such a strong, narrow, vertical accent. These are the trees you see lining drives to Tuscan villas. They instantly evoke a sense of Mediterranean luxury, formality, and permanence. Planting even one, or a pair to frame a view or an entrance, completely changes the scale and feel of a garden. Draw the eye skyward, making the space feel larger and grander. They are evergreen, so they provide that incredible structure all year round. The failure note is that they can be susceptible to canker and spider mites, and in very cold, snowy climates, the branches can be splayed open by heavy snow. You might need to wrap them in winter, but in the right climate, they're slender, dark green silhouette against the sky is pure architectural elegance. Its bold move is shortcut to making your garden look like it belongs on postcard from Italy.